Welcome to Social Aloe Ministries, where we are committed to glorifying God while exposing the devil. I recently did a video about a Proverbs 31 woman. And as a part of that, there's something from Proverbs 31:10 which states, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." I mentioned that a part of being that valuable ruby is knowing your worth. But it is also important to know that regardless of how much you are worth or you think you're worth, you also have to ensure that you're giving yourself to someone who values your worth. Like myself, if someone offered me a Rolex, it really wouldn't faze me because I'm not a Rolex kind of person. Yes, it may cost about $20,000, but it's really of no value to me because I don't value it. And that's what some of you are encountering, where you are a great person, and this is for men and women. You are a great person, and you've tried offering yourself to others, and they just don't see your worth. And sometimes you feel rejected, and you respond basically inappropriately. And in some cases, the pride within you starts swelling up by saying like, how dare this person reject me? And it's not to say that there is anything wrong with you or that person. It's just one of those things where you're just not meant to be together. A lot of times heartbreak is actually self-induced. And especially if you know you have things going for you. You think you'd make a great husband or wife for anyone. And you feel as if you have a pick of the lot, so to speak. And it's not for someone to choose you, but for you to choose that person as your husband or wife. It doesn't work that way. And Jesus said something in Matthew 7:6 that we also have to keep in mind. Do not give that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. So offering something that's holy to dogs or pearl to swines, and then they just trample those things and then turn around and basically tear people apart. And that's how some of you have felt. You offered something that's holy, maybe your body, to someone, and that person didn't accept it. And you may turn around and say, that person was a dog, or that person was a pig. But no, you also have to take responsibility, because every person has to exercise a certain measure of judgment regarding who to give what to, or at least to make an offer. And if that person refuses, it doesn't mean that person is a pig or a dog. It may simply mean that person does not value, does not hold in esteem what you have to offer. And it doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong with you. So again, a lot of times heartbreak is self-induced because we get an overinflated sense of value. We think that we should be able to get anyone we please. And when we made the offer to someone and they reject us, then sometimes there's a negative reaction. But it's two-sided. It's not always because a person is a quote-unquote pig or a dog. I gave the example for Rolex earlier. If someone wants to give me a Rolex, I can't even see accepting it. It's like I have no use for it. There are other things that cost less than $10 that I would value, that I would hold in higher esteem than a $20,000 Rolex. So part of knowing your worth is also acting your worth, and then who to give what you're worth. And in some cases, it may be two people who, if people were to develop a list, they'd be like, wow, those people, they're compatible because they have this and that going on for them. But still, they may not value each other. And there are times, for example, in marriages, people get married, they're in love, time goes on, and they start taking each other for granted. So in a sense, even though their value to each other has increased, because they start taking each other for granted, then it kind of devalues the other person. But that's another story for another time. So again, with Proverbs 31:10, about the virtuous woman whose value is more than rubies, but not everyone is going to value a ruby. Matthew 7:6, the Lord tells us about not giving what is holy to dogs or your pearls to swine, lest they trample it underfoot and then turn around and tear you apart. Be careful about calling someone a pig or a dog because that person rejected you. In some cases, a person rejecting you is one of the best things that person can do for you. In some cases, you may have some pride that they need to work on. And reject or rejection, it turns into redirection. I can tell you throughout my life, I have been rejected in several ways, and it ended up being great. It ended up being great. And generally speaking, in a sense, because I didn't get that, I ended up with this. And this was much better than that. And trying to make a dog or a pig see your value, again, it is pointless. The harder you try, the more that quote-unquote pig or dog is going to trample stuff on the foot, and it's going to tear you apart. But then there are those cases where people refuse to believe the truth about themselves, and that ruby is not as valuable as they think. I hope this helps. Another sobering look at relationships, but the truth definitely sets you free.